Good evening. We are waiting for one commissioner to join, and then we should be able to get started. I'll give people another minute to get settled and get logged on, and then we'll get ready to go. Okay, we're going to get going. If everyone could turn their cameras on, I would greatly appreciate it. We will call the meeting to order. Commissioner Gilligan, would you mind taking roll?
Oh, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right.
Commissioner Walker is trying to join. She joined a different link by mistake, so she'll be here shortly.
Okay. ANC 4B01, Michelle Coulson.
Present.
Commissioner Aaron Palmer, 4B02.
Present.
Commissioner Zurich Smith, 4B03. Commissioner
Present, yes.
Commissioner Evan Yates, 4B04.
He is absent tonight.
Kevin Gilligan, 4B05, present. Tiffany Johnson, Commissioner Johnson, 4B06.
Present.
Commissioner Michael Cohen, 4B07.
Present.
Commissioner Allison Brooks, 4B08.
Present.
Commissioner Audrey Walker, 4B09.
She is being promoted to panelist as we speak.
Okay, and Commissioner Leroy Huff, 4B10.
She is not here at the moment. Okay, so with that, we're going to start with our virtual instructions for the meeting. As you know, you can dial *9 from your phone. You can use the raise your hand function if you need to speak. And we will acknowledge you. Leroy is here and I can promote her to panelist. Okay, so I'm sorry. As I mentioned, we can use the *9 from your phones if you need to ask a question. You can also use the raise your hand function and you'll be acknowledged. If you have any questions about that, please let me know. And with that, we are going to review and consider the February agenda as submitted. Does anyone have any additions or changes to the agenda? No.
I just wanted to see if you like the order. The order is good.
The order is
presentations.
It's fine. Thank you
All
very
right.
much. So with that, is there a motion to accept the agenda as presented?
I make a motion to accept as
Thank you.
presented.
And a second?
I
Second.
second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Commissioner Huff. Okay, I see you now. Thank you. All right, that's everyone. With that, we'll move on to the approval of the January 2023 minutes. They were distributed a little late, but I think everyone should have had enough time to review them. If you didn't, can you please take a moment to do so now? And then we'll accept a motion to approve the agenda or accept any motions to amend.
Also note that all red lines in that version sent to you will be accepted, so read it as such.
Okay, have I afforded everyone enough time to review them for those that did not see them? Okay, is there a motion to accept the minutes as presented?
I move to accept the minutes as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. That's
Aye.
everyone. Thank you very much. All righty, moving right along. Where am I? I moved away from my agenda. Excuse me. Okay, we will move on. Is there anything for the treasurer's report, Commissioner Walker?
No, not at this time.
Okay, thank you. With that, we'll move to commissioner updates. I'm gonna go in numerical order. So if there are any updates, feel free to get ready. Commissioner Colson, we're gonna start with you.
No updates for 4B01.
Okay, I actually will say this for all the commissioners, myself included. For those residents that are on the call, if you do not, if you've not reached out and contacted your commissioner to provide your email address and contact information, we're gonna ask that you do that so that we can all add you to our various distribution lists, email lists, what have you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so with that, we'll go to 4B02.
Thank you, Chair. Just want to note an upcoming community cleanup on Saturday, March 11th at 10 a.m., which will take place at Van Buren and Piney Branch by the Safeway. And then I will also be holding my regular office hours on Thursday, March 16th at 6 p.m. Thank you.
4B03.
I think the only update I have is regarding the Tacoma Recreation Center. There have been, I guess, inquiries regarding the weight room. And I did receive a report on it. It's going to continue to be closed. Right now, there's not a work order on it. So it's going to take time. If you guys could email me, I can give you an update on it so you can have a little bit more information on it. But I have been receiving quite a few inquiries on about the Tacoma Recreation Center. So just send me an email, 4B03@anc.dc.gov, and I can give you what I have regarding that. So that's all I have for now.
Thank you. 4B05. Any updates?
Just a few folks have contacted me about the persistent leak in the street on Peabody and 8th out of the manhole cover. And just want to note for the community that DC Water does know about that, and they are working to schedule repair. They use a numerical scale of 1 to 5, and this is a 3. So it takes a little while to schedule it, but it is being scheduled for repair. They're aware. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. 4B06, Commissioner Johnson.
Hi, good evening. My only update is that I will be having my next single member district meeting on March 6th at 7 p.m. This will be a hybrid meeting. virtual as well as in person at Tacoma Community Center. We have a room reserved from 7 until 8:30.
Thank you. 4B07.
Thank you, Chair. Hi, everyone. Just a reminder that I'm holding Wednesday office hours at Lamont Rec Center at noon, and then after that, virtual office hours at 1 p.m. till 2. I expect a newsletter to be out next week for the month of March. So if you haven't already signed up, you can visit my website, www.cohen4b07.com, to sign up there. I'm also hosting a community cleanup, aka a pop-up cleanup, on 3/18 or March 18th from 9:30 a.m. until 11 a.m. So stay tuned for more details on that. And that is all.
Wonderful, thank you. So for 4B08, we are also having a cleanup inside the commission boundaries. Our cleanup is scheduled for Saturday, March the 25th. We'll also be holding a cleanup in April. That date is set and I don't have it in my mind. 1 second. So March 25th, excuse me, and April 22nd, we will be hosting cleanups in ANC in single member district 4B08. If you're interested in participating, please email me at 4B08@anc.dc.gov. In addition to that, I have been distributing my newsletter. If you're not receiving it and are interested in doing so, please email me that as well. Thank you. And with that, we'll go to 4B09.
Yes, I had an opportunity to attend a DDOT training this past week, last week, excuse me. And I found out that I'm able to track your TSI. Like when you call 311, they should give you a confirmation number that can be tracked to see if your complaint is actually under investigation or if it's closed. So if you have any complaints, definitely call 311. And this goes for Department of Public Works. And also any traffic safety issues that you have, please make sure that you document your confirmation number, just in case it does get lost. And then I'm able to track it through the system that they're affording to the commissioners. Also, please email me at 4b09@anc.dc.gov with any other issues or complaints that you have. And I'm in the process of setting up a website so that I'll be able to filter out more of your emails better so I can get back to you in a timely manner. Thank you.
Of course. Commissioner Huff?
Hi, everyone. So the report out for 4B10, I did meet with residents this month, early in the month, third Saturday. And so I got to meet many residents that day. Prior to that, I did a walk with a couple of stakeholders for the Eastern Star building on Sligo Mill. And so my first meeting was with PEPCO. My March meeting will be with Office on Building. And so I have some preliminary reports, hoping to have the owner there, or the developer, I should say, for that meeting. In April, we'll do a DDOT meeting, but I'll do a walkthrough with residents. There's a couple of things going on as it relates to representative, and I'm to set a date, and I'll let you guys know so that we can have a walk. My email address, I'm still using the 4b10@anc.dc.gov, but also LaRoya Huff at Gmail. And of course, my phone number is 202-704-2427. And my next meeting will be March 17th at Lamont from 10 a.m. to 12 noon.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. I forgot to mention during my report that I've noticed that several street signs have been knocked down in my single member district, at least. I don't know about others. So if you are finding that you have street signs that are on the ground, would you please call 311 to report them? I think there's been some vandalism, at least in this area, with regard to street signs, and we're trying to get them all repaired as quickly as possible. So thank you for that. With that, we'll move right into community concerns. If you have a question or a comment, would you please raise your hand? I apologize in advance that we're going to have to hold everybody to the 1 minute time limit. So please forgive me if I'm forced to cut you off. It looks like Ms. Tate has her hand raised. Ms. Tate, you should be able to unmute yourself and speak. Ms. Tate, take yourself off of mute, please.
Ms. Tate, I've sent you a request to unmute yourself. If you just click the button, it should allow you to speak.
Okay, let's also elevate Jessica, if you don't mind, while Ms. Tate tries to address her mute issue. We can go to the next question and come back to Ms. Tate.
Hi, thank you for recognizing me, Commissioner Brooks. I didn't get on the official agenda for tonight, but I'm the director of the Upper Georgia Avenue Main Street program. So I just wanted to take a few seconds of everyone's time to mention that we do have a public survey open for comment right now. We're looking for input, especially from residents that live in the neighborhoods that border Georgia Avenue, on a public art project. We're looking to vinyl wrap some traffic control boxes at the north intersection of Georgia, where Eastern, Kalmia, Alaska, and Georgia all meet. So you can sort of help us select the theme for that eventual public art project, and just give your input to the Main Street, and we'd really appreciate it. So I know that several of the 4B commissioners along Georgia already have that link, but I just kind of wanted to have people look for it on our website, which is uppergeorgiaave.org.
Thank you. Okay, let's see if Ms. Tate has been able to unmute herself. Looks like Ms. Tate is here twice, so I don't know which one is elevated. Angie, I don't know if you want to elevate both, if that makes a difference, how you want to handle it.
They have both been elevated.
Okay, let's try it one more time. Ms. Tate, see if you can hear me. If we can hear you, excuse me. Okay, let's move on. Well, Ms. Tate, there again. Ms. Tate, we're going to give this one last try. Otherwise, you will have to email your commissioner of record so that we can move on. Ms. Tate, are you there? Okay, I think we're going to have to move on for continuity's sake. And if Ms. Tate is able to get off of mute, then we'll give her a minute at another time in the meeting. So
Chair Brooks, there is a comment in the Q&A.
Okay, thank
And
you.
I'm gonna just, are we able to share the link to the commissioner emails just in case Ms. Tate needs to connect with a commissioner?
She has our email address, so she's emailed us in the past.
Okay,
So I know that she can reach us. Meanwhile, there are Q&A questions in the chat, excuse me. Ms. Thomas said that she's concerned about Tacoma Station, and Ms. Thomas, you might actually need to either provide a little bit more information or raise your hand so we can elevate you to so that you can ask the question, because I don't quite know how to respond to that. Okay. All right, Ms. Thomas, you should be able to take yourself off of mute. Ms. Thomas, did you take yourself off of mute?
All right.
There you go.
Oh, okay. First time trying this. How are you?
Good, and you?
Good, good. I am calling because I'm concerned about the strip where Tacoma Station Bar is and the smoker, the store called Smoke Island. And,
Okay.
are you all familiar with the street I'm thinking of?
Yes.
Okay, I had an incident with in the family. My oldest son and my youngest son went to that area, and both of them, one was pistol whipped and the other one was jumped.
Mhm.
And this has been in this year. So I'm concerned about them having cameras and security guards right there at the strip. And I wanted to ask the guy at Smoke Island if he had a camera, but I haven't been able to talk with anyone just yet. I call every day, and the young people there that work there, they're not giving me the information I need to possibly talk with the manager or owner, or I don't know what's going on really. But I'd like to find out if they have cameras. And I also would like to put out an effort to make sure that when the crowd is there at night and possibly during the day, that we can see what's going on if something were to happen. Is that possible?
So I believe, Commissioner Smith, is this now in your single member district? I believe it's still in your single member district, Commissioner?
No, it's Commissioner Yates who's not here, but I
Okay.
can give a preliminary answer, which is that most, if not all, of the businesses on that stretch do have security cameras. And have worked with the Tacoma Main Street to get security cameras. So if Ms. Thomas would like to get in touch with me, I can connect her to Commissioner Yates when he's back in town to talk about that. I know that the businesses are very active about making sure that they have good security protocols in the area.
So Commissioner Thomas, Ms. Thomas, I will put Commissioner Yates' contact information and Commissioner Palmer's will put her contact information in the chat, and then you can reach out to them directly to assist you in this effort, okay?
Okay,
And
thank
I'm
you.
very sorry that that happened to your sons.
Oh, thank you.
I hope they're doing well.
They're managing. I just, hope that they still continue to feel safe in the neighborhood.
Absolutely. So let's work towards making sure that happens.
I'm with it.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Let me continue with the Q&A. I think we answered all the other questions that were listed. Ms. Tate is trying to use the to promote to panelists. We're going to try one more time. And if that doesn't work, then we're going to move to the next item on the agenda. All right, Ms. Tate, it sounds like you're unmuted. Are you there? It seems like you just.
Hello, everyone. Yes.
Hi, Ms. Tate.
I'm here.
Okay.
Okay, I'll be as brief as possible. Hello, Commissioner Colson. Let me try to hang up because I'm echoing. Is that better?
Yes, much
Hello,
better.
everyone. So I'm actually attending on my sister's behalf. I've been in communication with Chairwoman Brooks, and I'll try to be as brief as possible. We're still having an issue with the DDS facility that's located right on 9th Street. I have a ton of questions, but realize I only have a minute. We did participate in the Councilwoman Lewis George's recent public hearing, and we were able to get some interaction with through her office. There are a couple of recommendations that we made to the council member, which she supports, that we would like to work with the ANC to see if we can get it formatted into a resolution. To have some of these recommended changes adopted as like policy reform. The most recent incident is one in which the guy has been removed, but he's still in the neighborhood. He slashed the tires of my mom's car, a couple of seniors in that neighborhood. So it's been an ongoing issue. Some of my questions include, can we do a walkthrough to actually see the facility? There's still no accountability. There hasn't been a site monitor at this place. wanted to know if maybe the ANC can also maybe step in and, request that there be a site monitoring, maybe do a walkthrough with the seniors in that neighborhood, just trying to take some action to demonstrate, that we're in this together to kind of restore a sense of safety in that area. So I had a long list of questions, but not enough time to ask in this format. So I'll put as many as I can in the question and answer. And Commissioner Colson, if you have a contact information that I can connect with you directly, that we can kind of continue to push this, keep this at the forefront of everyone's mind. We have a lot of seniors on that block who've been negatively affected. My mom is going to get safety cameras out back of the home through the DC camera security program. They used to have one for seniors, but we're looking into that. But now that we have support from Councilmember Lewis George's office, we just wanted to double back and continue to work with the ANC to see how we can get this resolved. The bottom line is that we need some streamlined mechanisms in place so that this doesn't happen to anyone else, and that we don't have to. We've been working on this for about 6 months, and it is really frustrating to have to even, attend a meeting or attend a hearing to get things put on the forefront. But we have a lot of great ideas as to how this could be handled in terms of accountability. So,
okay. So Miss Commissioner Colson just put her contact information in the chat for you, Miss Tate. I actually think you already have her email address.
Okay.
But I think if we could take this conversation offline, it would probably be a lot more productive, because we're not going to be able, unfortunately, in this format, as you recognize, to address all of that. But I think there'll be an opportunity going forward for you to absolutely be heard and have some of these items addressed. Okay.
Cool beans. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And I just want to say thank you for your persistence with getting on with us. But yes, please reach out to me, and I definitely would love to support as best as I can.
Okay. Will
All
do.
right.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, so we were going to move on to our reports at this point. Unfortunately, our MOCR, Sophia Ticola, is on scene at an incident and is unable to provide a report right now. If she's able to log back on, then we're going to allow her to speak at that time. So with that, we're going to move to Barbara Rogers, who is the representative from the office of Ward 4 Councilmember Janice Lewis George.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can. And we
All
can.
righty.
Thank you.
Hello, 4B. How are
Hi.
you all doing?
We're
Glad
wonderful.
to see your smiling faces. I only have a few updates, but I do want to just also to say to Commissioner Colson regarding Mrs. Tate's concern, please reach back out to our office. I think Jim Lewis may have been working on this issue, so definitely reach back out to us so that we can support you and Ms. Tate in any way. Okay, just a few updates. As you all know, we did the Listen as We Climb, and we want to thank everyone who participated in the events. We heard from over 200 Ward 4 residents in 7 separate events across our community. And so we want to say thank you. The council member work on the council and in our community will be shaped by the ideas and the priorities that we heard during those 7 events. Today we had a Ward 4 Jobs Not Gun job fair, which was focused on high school seniors. It was held today from 10 to 4 up at Emory Recreation Center. So we had probably 25 young people that came out and listened to a host of speakers. So a very successful event today. We do have another Ward 4 Jobs Not Gun job fair that will be for everybody. That one will be held on April 1st, and that one will be at Coolidge High School. So we will have the flyers out tomorrow. So we would appreciate if you all would spread the word on that. We have a lot of residents that need jobs, and this will be the perfect place for them to interact with employers and hopefully find a good job. SNAP benefits. You all may know that as of March 1st, more than 90,000 DC households that have been receiving the SNAP emergency allotment through the pandemic will see their increased benefits reduced after Congress let the program expire. So we have received some calls from Ward 4 residents. So commissioners, if you have residents that this may apply to, please have them to reach out to our constituent service office to actually help and support them and maybe get some adjustments to their benefits. As you all know, we are participating in its oversight hearing. So we're in the middle of performance and budget oversight. We do need ANC commissioners and community members to testify. Thank you to all the commissioners that have already testified. And then lastly is this week, DGS finally replaced, this update actually pertains to 4B. DGS finally replaced the plumbing in the early childhood wing of Whittier, which would frequently cause flooding and sewage issues. And this was something that DGS in the past would just put a Band-Aid on it. They would just do a quick temporary fix. But they have now fixed the problem, and we hope that that will not return.
Ms. Rogers, I
Yes.
hate to do this to you, but 3 minutes goes very quickly.
Okay. The Board 4 budget letter, this is it. The Board 4 budget letter, the council members' budget letter is out. So you all can go to the website and read her budget letter. And as you all know, there will be an opportunity to shape the DC budget. So this is just the first budget letter put out. And if you're not on our newsletter, please sign up for our newsletter at www.ward4news.com. And that's all I have. Thank you all.
Thank you. Commissioners, does anyone have any questions from Ms. Rogers? Barbara, come back on camera now. You're not done.
I'm not.
No, you're
I
not. You have
didn't
to
do
take
it.
questions from the commissioners.
I know. You know, I've sat in your seat before.
I know.
If I
Palmer.
don't know the answer to a question, I will get an answer for you.
Thank you.
So
Mr.
I am
Palmer,
here.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Barbara. I just wanted to echo something that Commissioner Smith raised earlier, which is that we're receiving a lot of inquiries about the Tacoma Community Center and particularly the weight room, and just asking for a little bit of assistance if you all can help us keep track of that and urge them to act promptly and making sure it's open and accessible to everybody.
Yes, I wrote that down and I will definitely take that back.
Thank you.
Commissioner Cohen.
Hi there, Ms. Rogers. Good to see you.
Hello.
Quick question. I know that Auda has left. It's my understanding Auda has left. And just want to understand, are all of her issues being transferred over to Jim or to you, or how is that working now?
Yes, everything that she has been transferred. She's not going anywhere. So if there's something that we need additional information on, she is still there to support us. She'll be back from time to time, but yes, we are very sad to see her go, but we definitely wish her well on her next chapter. So yes, in answer to your question.
There is a question on the floor asking, who is DGS or DGS?
DGS is the
General
general
service.
services for the District of Columbia, and they provide facility support to all of the district government properties.
Correct.
Okay. Any other, I'm sorry, I'm looking to see if hands are raised. I don't see any other questions. So now you can turn your camera off, Ms. Rogers.
Thank you.
You're
You all
welcome.
give me a call if I can be. I've gotten emails from Commissioner Palmer, so and Commissioner Johnson. Anything that I can do, please reach out to me.
So
And hi,
hey,
Mr.
just
O'Leary.
real quick before you go.
Hey.
Mr. O'Leary, give me 1 second. Ms. Rogers, I just got a text message because while we're talking, the DDOT oversight hearing is still going on. And Director Lott just testified that whenever the ANC commissioners reach out to DDOT, they've responded back to them, and that DDOT has tracking so that they can prove that. We'd like to see that information, please. So if you could have the commissioner provide us with the tracking information to the DDOT responses to the 4B related information, that would be greatly appreciated, because somehow while he might have responded, we've not received them.
Okay, I was actually on that hearing and I'm gonna hop back on, so I will definitely pass that along.
I appreciate that. Unfortunately, I cannot be in two places at the same time, which I guess is fortunate for DDOT. Okay.
Exactly.
Have a wonderful.
All right, thank you.
All righty. So now we have Fraser O'Leary, the Ward 4 State Board of Education representative. The floor is yours, sir.
Good evening, everyone. This month, we lost one of the best public servants in our ward and the city. The last time we saw Stephen Watley was at ANC 4A's February meeting. He did so much for our community. We must continue to advocate as he did his entire life. We're thankful for the community support for Whittier. We're glad that they fixed the plumbing finally. As you know, I've been mentioning Whittier for the last 4 years at every meeting I attend. We, the Ward 4 community, cannot take our foot off the gas, and we need to make the executive responsible for taking care of Whittier, Truesdale, and LaSalle Bacchus, the 3 schools that are waiting to be modernized. We met with the Chancellor and the Deputy Mayor for Education last week and emphasized the need for repairs at our schools. I will be testifying tomorrow about DGS and its lack of response to our DCPS schools. When I said we, I don't know if you know, but I was elected as vice president. So the vice president, the president, the leadership of the board meet with those school officers every month. And lastly, but hardly least, Mrs. O'Leary's Books for Friends is still accepting and delivering books to our elementary and middle schools. My number is 202-236-2184. My email is oman9@aol.com. I'll put it in the chat. And you can also drop books on my porch at 1318 Farragut Street, Northwest, if you so desire. We were on hiatus we delivered all the books we had before Christmas, and we're starting to get books again, and we started delivering books last week. And please contact me for anything that is school related, and I hope that you have some questions. Thank you.
Commissioners, do you have any questions? No. Commissioner Palmer.
Not so much a question, but just want to echo your statements about the District Department of General Services and the challenges that we've faced with them. As you're probably aware, the commission weighed in years ago about the DGS dashboard, which the council moved forward. There just is overall not just a lack of action on work orders, but a lack of transparency around the status of those work orders. So thank you for continuing to raise that issue.
Well, I'm glad that they fixed something at Whittier, but there's so much in all of our schools, even the new schools, with HVAC that has never worked at Roosevelt, the alarm systems at Otteby Wells, which is only, 2 years old. John Lewis Elementary is right across the street from my house. And they were solar panels delivered before the school was opened, and the solar panels are still in the basement. So I'm very dissatisfied. The school system doesn't have any control over the maintenance of the buildings in the schools, and that's what my testimony is going to be about tomorrow.
All right, well, thank you very much.
We do actually have a comment in the community asking that you provide the address for the book drop-off, if you could, in the comment section.
Okay, I will
I'll
do that.
Type it in the, you're gonna type it in the chat?
Yes, I will. I'll
Okay.
do that right now.
All right, thank you so much.
Sure.
All righty, and with that, Sophia Tacola has been able to join us. So we're going to elevate her next and have her give her update. Hi, Sophia, how are you?
Oh, hi. So
Hi.
sorry that it's a little bit hard to see us here. We actually are at a scene of a rapid. We wanted to make sure that we dropped in to say hi. We're currently at the Raymond Rec Center, as there has been a teen that was shot in the stomach and is in the hospital right now. I also wanted to introduce Derek. He is my new partner.
Hello, Derek. Welcome.
Thank you.
So today's his first day, so please.
Wow, what an introduction.
Yes, no, we're going.
Yeah.
So a few things that I wanted to let everybody know about was upcoming to bring in Women's Month. We have the 5th annual Her Story 5K, and that will be on Saturday, March 4th. This year, of course, and registration will open at 9 a.m. and the race will begin at 10 a.m. And this 5K will start at Freedom Plaza. And so that is Her Story honoring women in DC. Next, we have the Dream Pitch program. The Dream Pitch program will be supporting our DC Department of Small Business Development and offering different programs and different opportunities for people to pitch their ideas about small businesses in the DC area. And this will be a great way if you have a business idea that you have been working on for a while and you need that extra support, please sign up to the Dream Pitch program. As you may have seen throughout Ward 4 and throughout DC, we have had several stolen cars, up to 8 to 10 a day. And these cars are specifically Kia and Hyundais. And so a big thing that we are doing currently in partnership with the MPD is offering safety locks and clubs. So if you go to a police department, you show that you own that car, you will be given a free club to stop your car from being stolen. And then we also have the cherry blossom season. And so currently that bus tour is in Boston. They're making their way to New York and it will end in DC. And so please follow that on the cherry blossom throughout our DC Gov web pages and Instagram. And so that is all I have for right now, but we have a moment before we have to run back and continue working and supporting this scene right now. If anybody does have some questions.
Does anybody have a question? No, doesn't look like it. Okay.
Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for making a way on. Hold on 1 second for me. It looks like there's a new message. I just want to make sure that it's not a question. Someone to address Eddie's comment. Hold on. Okay, so this is a question about Whittier, which I think we can address and you don't have to hang around.
Absolutely. But please, for those who don't know, I used to teach. And so when I
didn't
hear
know.
things, teaching is a very big passion of mine. Being someone who has been a respite foster parent and a teacher and worked in youth ministry. So when I see things about Whittier, Ida B. Coolidge, I run a tutoring program outside of Coolidge or within Coolidge. Please keep me in the loop. I will always do my best to support our youth, and I really want to be a part of that programming. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Of course.
Okay, so the question actually in the Q&A says, just want to mention, so therefore it's, I don't want to take away from the comment, but it's a comment and not a question. Just want to mention Whittier is still woefully in disrepair. I don't understand how budgeting can be based on enrollment when the school's condition and advocacy thereof dissuades more enrollment. Is not fixed, so don't want the perception to be that DGS is on good accord, I think that's what it's supposed to say, with the parents there. They just installed a hideous access ramp at the elementary entrance, which somehow makes the walkway more dangerous. So I'm reading the comment, but this is not my single member district, so I will allow the commissioner of record to respond or address as appropriate.
Well, this is my district. I have reached out to the principal there. I'm hoping to connect with her so I can learn more information about the repairs and whatever is going on, issues they have going on at Whittier. So,
so it's not off our radar, in other words.
Yeah, So once I hear anything, then obviously I'll get it out to the residents and the parents, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, so the next comment was from Pam Griffin. Why not all cars? All types of cars have been stolen. While all cars are being stolen, they're not being stolen at the rate and the pace that Kias and Hyundais are being stolen. And more specifically, we all know that there is a very easy way for them to steal the cars that has been presented on TikTok by kids. And so that's why we're trying to make an effort to reduce the sudden spike in stolen Kias and Hyundais. So this is in addition to the city doing that, Kia and Hyundai are going to download or push out an update in software that will prevent this from happening. But until that, the best solution we have at this point are clubs. So that is why. So we're going to move on the agenda. And with that, I believe we I apologize for having to stop the flow of the meeting to allow Sophia to speak, but we're now back to the Housing Justice Committee update. And with that, I'll give the floor to Commissioner Palmer.
Thank you so much, Chair. Just a little bit of an update on our last meeting, which was February 1st. We welcomed a presentation and discussion with at-large Councilmember Robert Waite on some of his legislative and budget priorities, as well as his new role as chair of the council's Housing Oversight Committee. We had a discussion with a representative from Legal Aid Society about DC budget advocacy and heard a presentation about an affordable housing project, the Fort Totten Senior Apartments at 5543 South Dakota Ave Northeast. Our next Housing Justice Committee meeting will be March 1st, this Wednesday at 7. The details are available on the website. And we will have a discussion with representatives from Douglas Development about a proposed development at 6901 Willow Street Northwest, as well as continue our discussions about the committee's budget advocacy related to housing priorities. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I will give the Vision Zero Committee update meeting. We had some confusion with the agenda going out in a timely fashion the last meeting. So there wasn't a very robust conversation, which we typically like to have. And with that, the next meeting will be the third Wednesday of the month at 6 p.m. which would be Wednesday, March 15th. Okay. Commissioner Johnson, would you like to provide an update on community support and safety and support?
Good evening, everyone. Our committee met on last week on the 20th, and we had a presentation from Director Harley Harper, who is now Director of the Office of Neighborhood and Safety Engagement. We also had a discussion with our Ward 4 Moker, Sophia Sekola, who mentioned that there's been a few instances of displacement in the community with regard to fires. And so she was advocating for constituents to have information for fire safety. So I am working on providing that information to constituents. And our next meeting will be to be determined. We are having a planning meeting next week to discuss if we want to continue meeting on the third Monday of the month, and also if we want to continue as just virtual meetings, or if we want to switch to a hybrid model. Lastly, we have 2 possible resolutions that we will be working on, and I will provide more information on that to the commission at a later date.
Thank you. Okay, with that, we will move on to a presentation by Christopher Dyer, the Community Engagement Manager from the Department of Parks and Recreation. You're muted.
Yeah. You know, you'd think by 2.5 years into this pandemic or into these virtual meetings, I would figure out how to do this, but I have not. Thank you all. And first off, it was breaking news about the shooting in Raymond, so I don't have any details about that. But it's, again, very unfortunate. And I also remember that we had a shooting at Riggs LaSalle recently, so I guess the theme of tonight's meeting is timely. But that being said, let me go into our standard presentation. I don't think I'm going to need the full 20 minutes because I think it's much more important for you guys to ask questions of me. But let me go through this really quickly, and then you guys can, fire questions at me, and I will try to answer them. I probably will also have a brief update on Tacoma for Commissioner Smith. So anyway, first off, welcome. For those of you, for the new commissioners, I apologize to the returning commissioners. This might be a little familiar to you, but for the new ones and for those playing along at home, just wanted to affirm that DPR is still the #1 ranked park system in the country. We're incredibly excited and proud about that. We have programming and events year-round in 244 sites across 900 acres in all 8 wards. And of course, we have about 100+ capital improvement projects in our construction pipeline. So we're kind of busy. As I was preparing the slide deck today, with the new boundaries, you actually have some of the bigger rec centers in your ANC. You have, in addition to the 4th and Blair Road Parklet, you have the Lawn Rec, Riggs LaSalle, and of course the Tacoma Aquatic Center and Recreation Center are in your area. Plus there are a bunch of triangle parks throughout the ANC. If you want a more detailed idea of what is in your SMD, feel free to email me afterwards and I'll try to track stuff down for you. First slide I want to talk to you about, this is our, these are the web pages that you need to know. If you need to know anything at all about DPR, here they are. DPR.events list all the upcoming events. DPRprograms.com provides information on programs. I'll get into that a little bit more later. DPR.dc.gov/locations. If you're ever wondering where there's a DPR facility across the city, you can go there. And then of course we have our permits page at dpr.dc.gov/permits. And I'll briefly touch on permits later. Finally, here's the interesting question. For those of you who are interested, hey, what's going on at my rec center? If you go to dpr.dc.gov/DPR calendar, you can do a search on what's going on at your center and get a full list of all the programs and permits that are going on in a calendar or a daily basis. If you're really that interested, we're very excited about this. I'm personally, as a data geek, I'm very excited that we're being able to provide this resource for you. And hopefully it'll be something that your constituents will be able to enjoy. First off, we are about to start our spring and summer registration our spring and summer camp registration. So we want you to get ready and stay ready for DPR programs. We have a reduced rate application process for programs all year right now. We used to only do it during the summer registration. If you've not applied for reduced rate, you can do it online. And we also have programs for spring and summer coming up. We encourage you to visit dpr.dc.gov/DPR account, which is in all caps, not our capital DPR lowercase account, for additional information, register for account, and to qualify for reduced rate. So go ahead and make sure you have a DPR account in advance so that when the spring registration and the summer camp registration kick off, you are very current. So that's one thing. As mentioned, spring program registration will open on March 1st for all aquatics programs and on March 2nd for all other programs. Visit dprprograms.com for additional information. Now, at the bottom of the dpr.programs.com page, there is a link on each of the separate rec sites. If you're interested in what's happening at your site, you can click on that and it'll show you all the programs that we're offering in the spring. So again, we will be on March 1st doing the waiting room as part of our registration process. So may the odds ever be in your favor, and good luck when you sign up to sign up for aquatics on March 1st or the other programs on March 2nd. We also have a cycle. We do our program offerings in all 4 seasons. As we see, the spring season is there. Summer season will be March 16th, 2023. Summer camp registration will kick off on March 13th, 2023. We are still finalizing some details and I cannot share with you yet what they are, but please, commissioners, keep an eye on your inbox. March is going to be a rather busy month, but we'll be having some information about our summer camp registration, which is always very exciting. You know, for our fall season, we do August 16th, and winter season, November 1st, 2023. So those are our programs. Permits we talked about. A permit is required for any organized picnic or activity with 10 or more participants in a facility. Visit dpr.dc.gov/permits or call 202-673-7647 for complete information on how to get a permit for your special event or program. And then finally, you wanted me to briefly talk about roving leaders. So I put a slide together about that. The roving leader program prevents, neutralize, and control hostile behavior in youth and youth groups, the development of positive relationships between teens, youth, and outreach leaders. And we've been doing it since 1950. The roving leaders are, I think, the prototype of the original. I call them the original violence interrupters, because they really do a lot of one-on-one work and try to develop relationships with youth across the city. And unfortunately, I don't have a lot more information about the roving leaders, but I wanted to give you that slide so you had it. Finally, if you have any questions about DPR activities or need any assistance with a specific activity issue, please contact me. My cell is 202-702-9453. My email is christopher.dyer@dc.gov. As the community engagement manager for the agency, one of my primary responsibilities is to work with community stakeholders like ANC commissioners. I'm so inspired by the work you guys do that I actually decided to come on myself as well. So I really appreciate the work you guys do, and I will try to respond to you as quickly as I can. I might not have the answer right away, but I do understand the work you're doing is incredible and important. So please continue to forward these questions to me with that. And with that, I'm going to stop the share and be ready to answer any questions you guys might have and any in the commission. Thank you all. I look forward to working with you continually.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Are there any commissioner questions or comments? Commissioner Palmer.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris, for being here. I just wanted to note what a great experience the late night drip and late night hype programs were, and what a great experience many kids have in the camps, including the summer camps. And to just do a plug, when you say, may the odds be ever in your favor that you get spots in some of these great programming, like, we want more of it and more funding for it. And these are just great things that should be available to more and more kids, because they're really wonderful programs. And my question is about the Roving Leaders program, and you may not have this information, but it would be great to know the resources that are specifically within Ward 4 and within our commission, in terms of the personnel with Roving Leaders and what they're working on.
Yeah, please send me that email and I'll get you more specific information. I know right now just anecdotally that we use the roving leaders to provide some support at the Petworth Playground during the fall because of the staff shortage or the staff reductions that we had to make for budget reasons. And I will appreciate your comment, Commissioner, about the need for more budget. Actually, I can't address that, but I appreciate we will be having late night hype and trip again this summer. We just actually had a very good late night trip over at Fairview Hope last week. So we're going to be expanding that program. And we are, because of the generosity of the mayor and the budget, we will be able to expand summer camp. One of our challenges is that there's a space capacity at this point across the city. So there should be some more slots. I think you'll be pleased, and we'll be making the process a little bit more equitable and fair this year. I just can't drop into the details yet. And I appreciate your help and support. Yes.
I think I will add to that. I think that, one of the reasons that it was important to have you present today was not only the fact that spring season camp registration opens March 1st and 2nd, but we know as commissioners, as parents, as community activists, that the more engagement we have for young people, the better the outcomes. And so we want to try to provide as many options for children as possible. We want to keep them as busy and engaged as possible. And so that is sort of a perfect segue into Director Harley Harper's presentation. So thank you for coming. Thank you for providing this information and these resources to the children. Are there any other commissioners? Commissioner Walker?
Hi, good evening. I have a question. Are you all participating in SYEP? Will you be hiring?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We are one of the biggest agencies that take a benefit from SYEP. I think we had 1,300 placements last year in our agency. So we really have fun with it. And it's a great resource. Thank you for asking that question.
You're welcome. And one more question.
Again, like we do every year. And that's an interesting registration process. We don't actually, we don't do a registration process online for that. We have a very targeted, specific way we do outreach for that. But yes, we will be offering camp review. And if you want to be added to the information list, please let me know. Just email me and I will forward that.
Sure. Thank you.
Mr. Dyer, there's a question in the chat. How is DPR solving the inequitable registration process? The lottery is released in the middle of the workday when many working parents cannot access the registration. There are many of us who have been trying to sign up for swimming lessons for years and it's inaccessible. Is there some neighborhood preference for consideration or alternative registration?
We're looking at something.
Tacoma's weight room has been promised to be reopened for months. Is there an ETA?
Yes. Okay. So
thanks for all the work you do.
Again, summer camp registration, we understand that there are some inequities and I can't give the full details yet, but I think people will be pleased with the way that we're going to address it. Unfortunately, we cannot, we don't do registration and provide neighborhood preference to stuff, but there will be a new way. We understand that some it is a challenge. And again, you can just stand by. We will be doing something new. I hate to tease this because I hate that, but again, we hear that, we understand the complaints and the concerns, and we think we have a solution. And as for the Tacoma weight room, again, I appreciate that everyone has been waiting for that fitness center to reopen. And what I can share right now is that we have actually planning, and I don't have an ETA yet, but we're actually planning on moving the equipment from the aquatic center into the rec center. So for the last 3.5 years, all the equipment in the rec center and the aquatic center has gotten rusted because it's hanging out around water. And so instead of cleaning out the equipment and continuing, we are going to just move it over into the Tacoma Rec Center. And unfortunately, the rec center side. And unfortunately, I don't have an ETA on that, but I will have an adjusted statement for you, Commissioner Smith and Commissioner Cohen. And I appreciate you guys getting the getting the impact of the brunt of the community. I'll have a statement that you guys can share. Just give me a few moments and let me work through it on my end.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any other questions? All right. Well, thank you for your time.
No, thank you guys for having me. You're one of my favorites. I know you're not supposed to play favorites on ANCs, but I always have a good time here at ANC 4B. And again, please continue to poke me with a stick. I really enjoy working with you guys and look forward to providing and helping. And I'm so grateful that we were able to reopen Tacoma Aquatic Center. That's all I have to say. Anyway, again, thank you guys for the work you're doing and have a great evening.
You too. Thank you. So next on the agenda, we have Director Linda Harley Harper. I believe she's been, yes, promoted and is, oh. Okay, I couldn't, you were so photogenic, I couldn't tell if that was really you or an image, and so I hesitated. You're still on mute.
Well, thank you for that, because I don't feel very photogenic right now. And
Oh.
I'm sorry I sound crazy to be on a public community meeting, but I definitely didn't want to miss the opportunity to take Aaron's invitation to be here tonight. I'm happy to be here. And when I came in, I heard some questions about the shooting that we had at Raymond. Is there, would it be helpful for me to start there to give some information? Or did someone already cover that before I got on?
We weren't given any information. We were just notified that it happened.
Okay, would you like me to give you, I can tell you a little blurb
Sure.
about kind of what happened. It happened about 6:15 this evening. There was a 911 caller who reported hearing 2 or 3 shots. And there was a casing that was found actually on the football field of Raymond Recreation Center. And then there is one victim who ran into the recreation center immediately after he was shot. I'm very glad to report that there's a non-life-threatening gunshot wound to a 16-year-old who was shot in the abdomen. And at this point, there's no lookout for that particular shooting, but it still raises a lot of issues that make the community very fearful and concerned. First and foremost, a shooting where there was a casing on a football field is very concerning. The weather probably prevented others from being out there, but also just the fact that the victim ran into the recreation center is scary as well. So I just wanted to be able to share the facts that we know them as currently provided, but the best news is that it was a non-life-threatening injury. And so hopefully this young person who was shot is going to be just fine. Are there any questions about that before I go on?
No.
Okay. So today marks the first day of my 3rd week as in the dual role of the Director of Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement and the Director of the Office of Gun Violence Prevention. I've been using the last 2 weeks to really just get an assessment, do a full assessment of the one's office. I probably need about another 4 weeks to really dig all the way in to everything from personnel programs, lots of pressure around budget deadlines. The timing for this is not ideal. And to be able to make recommendations to the mayor. The mayor has put a lot of investment in gun violence prevention. I heard there were some conversations about housing earlier that I heard Commissioner Palmer mention, and I just want to say that stable housing is gun violence prevention in so many ways. And so really hoping and looking forward to having I don't want to use carve outs, but priorities placed on young people who have previously been victims and or perpetrators of gun violence in need of housing. And we have a lot of homeless young people who aren't necessarily your traditionally thought about homeless persons, but who are couch surfing and don't really have a stable place to reside. For us, they usually come to light through our Pathways program that's operated out of the Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement. I can honestly say that the Pathways program is what I would consider a shining star in the work that we're doing in the Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement. It's a transformational mentoring program. And from, let me say, probably for the last year, I've met the cohorts at the beginning and have been able to meet them at the end and afterwards. And it is one of the programs who works so closely with the young people and actually, in my opinion, is successful in helping them to change their thinking and to set future goals and to be prepared to become positive and productive citizens. In the Pathways program, it usually comes out that many of them are experiencing housing insecurity. And so I just want to put a pitch in there around the housing needs of the population that I'm responsible for serving. We know that those who are victims of gun violence very often turn out to be future perpetrators of gun violence, that oftentimes it's the same folks. And so, the more that we can encourage them to offer opportunities and supports and experiences that change their thinking, the more likely we are to get them to change the trajectory in their behaviors that they present in the community. I know that it's a controversial standpoint. There's a lot of residents who are just so tired of the gun violence that we really are starting to lean towards requesting more incarceration and more police officers. And as a city, and I've been in my role with the Office of Gun Violence Prevention for 2 years. And when I started this, it was a defund police, big, huge push. And in 2 years, we've made a total complete shift now to wanting additional police officers, and also to really have the conversations. The revision of the criminal code has certainly raised the conversation a great deal about more incarceration, longer sentences. So, that's a dialogue that we need to continue to have as a city, and that we need to make a decision about the character of our city and who we decide that we want to be. Our juvenile justice system in the city has been known to be a leader in juvenile justice reform across the country. Certainly a very tough conversation to have when we are hearing so much about young people committing really horrific crimes. And so we have to make a decision, on who we want to be and how we want to treat our young people, and who we think is responsible for when our young people make a left instead of a right in doing things in our community. And so, the conversation really came to light in the case of Karan Blake and that community, who we just did a healing circle 2 weekends ago in that community, who became very divided about what happened with Karan Blake. And for those of you all who may not remember, the young man who he and his friends were tampering with automobiles, and he was ultimately shot by a resident and killed. And so lots of conversation that a lot of us saw on social media and were a part of around, that's ranging from that's what he gets for being out at 4 o'clock in the morning and tampering with people's cars, to the full extreme opposite, where people felt like we can't be making a decision to choose life over property. And so I think that it's going to be an ongoing conversation for the city, for sure. And how we manage our juveniles is a conversation certainly that Attorney General Schwab is taking a look at, and I am very optimistic about the new leadership and seeing what direction Attorney Schwab moves in. But also, more importantly, I have 3 stints at DYRS, and it's really my sort of my heart. And there's some work that needs to be done in the DYRS space to ensure that we have programs and services and supports that are meeting the current needs of the population that we have. And we have to acknowledge that what we're seeing right now with our juveniles is unprecedented. And as a person who, started working with juveniles, I hate to say this, but started at Oak Hill, excuse me, working with young people in the deepest end of our system, to now, things have changed. There was a point at DYRS where we had, fare jumpers and people who were stealing cell phones, grabbing them out of your hand while you're walking down the street. What we have now is very different from that. And we have to make that adjustment and that shift about what we can do to manage that shift. Excuse me. In the Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement, currently there's 5 programs that operate out of the ONE's office. And I want to make a distinction between OGVP and the ONE's office, and just to use acronyms, Office of Gun Violence Prevention and the Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement. And the ONE's office, by legislation, we are set up in the Office of the City Administrator for the OGVP to be the at the highest levels of government. And we are in the Office of the City Administrator. I consider the easiest way for me to think about it and sort of explain it is that OGVP is the policy arm of the work that we've been doing. We've been working on local and national policy for gun violence for the last 2 years that I've been in the position. But definitely in the last year, we've really been focused on becoming a part of a larger national push around gun violence prevention. And so we've done a lot of advocacy work around gun violence prevention. And also we have become a part of many conversations with jurisdictions who are struggling with the same challenges that we are. And so including the White House, where there is a collective of jurisdictions, 16 jurisdictions, of which the district is one of them, to come together with the White House to talk about the challenges of gun violence prevention and what we're facing, which has been very enlightening and humbling, because when you live in it every day, you tend to think that it's only you. And then when you talk to others, you realize that there are others who are struggling, and we are able to bounce off ideas, see what works in other jurisdictions and what doesn't. I can also tell you that in the district, we have been declared #1 by, oh my goodness, I just went blank. I'm going to come back and tell you the by. We've been declared #1 as putting the Community Justice Action Fund. The Community Justice Action Fund, which is CJAF, you can look them up online. They did a survey of jurisdictions, the top 50 jurisdictions with the highest incidence of gun violence. And what they looked at is where the investments were placed for those top 50 jurisdictions. And the District of Columbia is #1, and where we put our investments. Not something that we really advertise, because it's a hard conversation to have when we're in the midst of so much trauma and drama and crime, right? But I think that we should be optimistic in that the money is in the right place. We just need to continue to do what we're doing and to improve on what we're doing. And so I encourage you to look at the Community Justice Action Fund work and the Violence Prevention Index that they did of the top 50 jurisdictions. And you'll see that Washington, D.C. is #1. I think, through our advocacy work, we've been able to make sure that D.C. is a part of the national conversation of gun violence, which for many of us, we know that we have foundation headquarters here and lots of folks who do advocacy work here. And a lot of times the district gets forgotten about. And so for a number of reasons, even with the Community Justice Action Fund, if we had not pushed, they were looking at states, right? And so that's where we kind of get lost sometimes. And so really happy to have us to be a part. We have to be a part of these conversations. And particularly pushing for foundations who are doing funding in other jurisdictions, that they need to consider us, particularly those who have headquarters here in the district, need to consider us as first choice for funding opportunities. And the president has put the ARPA funding into gun violence prevention, but that funding ends in FY24. And so we need to be prepared to seek out additional funding so that we can replace those dollars. To continue the conversation about OGVP, we have 6 full-time staff, and actually the office is in the Wilson building working on policy. We have a data analyst. We have a community outreach and engagement team. We have a program analyst. The OGVP office also manages the building blocks grants that have been put out in the community to fund many grants for residents who have ideas about gun violence prevention activities. And we have definitely considered that program to be a success. And we have another round coming up soon. And I really would like to see some additional applications submitted from Ward 4 for residents who have ideas about what we could do for gun violence. A lot of times we see residents who have been coming out of their pocket to help with ideas that they know will help, but they have could use an additional mini grant to help support their efforts. So I'll be sure to share that information with Commissioner Palmer, but it'll also be shared widely on the social media when the next round comes out, which will be in the next couple of weeks. We have 4 credible messengers who are on staff at OGVP who have been trained to be grant monitors, who help to make sure that those who are awarded the grants actually do what they say they were going to do with the dollars and are able to speak to the impact on the community. So moving back to the ONES office, there's 5 programs that are operated out of the ONES office. I'm still learning the ins and outs of the ONES office, but what I can tell you is the Pathways program is the program that I mentioned earlier, and is the program that is mentioned in the legislation that established the ONES office, the NEAR Act. It doesn't call it Pathways, but it calls it an incentive-based program for the population that's served by Pathways. There's also a People of Promise program, which you may have heard of, which is where the National Institute for Criminal Justice Reform came in and did a problem analysis of the top 200 persons that were at high risk of bringing gun violence to our communities, many of them on previous supervision. And so the People of Promise is a program that has taken that list and is working to engage those 200 persons and working to encourage participation in transformative activities and offering employment opportunities and supports to help to get them on the right track. The violence intervention program is well talked about. It is the network of community-based providers who provide violence intervention services to 25 communities. We have about 70 violence interruption staff, not staff, contractors who work for a network of community-based providers. Over 25 communities are right now are staffed with violence interrupters. There's an OLA program, which is a Office of Learning Academies, and they are housed in DCPS schools at the request of the principal. And essentially it is almost, I would consider like credible messengers who are housed inside of the school, who become a part of the culture of the school and are a response to the decrease in the school resource officers and is an alternative. The ONES office and OGVP are focused on the non-law enforcement approaches to gun violence prevention. I failed to say that early on. And then there's a FSS program, which is the Family Survivor Support Program, which is the program that supports those persons who survive gun violence, the families who lose their loved ones to gun violence, and supports them through the process in collaboration with the Crime Victims Compensation Program, the MPD Victims Program, the OAG Victims Program. It's part of a network in the city that provides support to families who experience loss due to gun violence. I think I'll pause there and see what questions I can take, because I see I'm running out of time and I want to make sure to leave time for you to ask me questions if there's something else that you wanted to hear. I will say, Commissioner Palmer, I'm happy to come back when I know more and I'm able to speak more intelligently about this, but I appreciate the invitation and the opportunity early on.
So thank you. With that, we'll take questions from commissioners. No questions? Commissioner Palmer?
Thank you. Linda, just want to say thank you to you for your work, for being here tonight. I know you're quite busy. And you had mentioned that these conversations are difficult conversations, and I appreciate you being willing to have them and have them with a layer of compassion. I know that something that we talked about when you came to the commission to discuss building blocks was the role that you would play in coordination among various violence interruption efforts. And I'm wondering if that's improved, what you've seen over your time working on this issue, and how you foresee that going forward now that you have an even bigger umbrella.
No, thank you for that question. I can honestly say coordination amongst government agencies is probably one of the most challenging things to do. But and that's just in full transparency and honesty. What I can say though is that as much as it was not my professional goal to take on these two agencies at the same time, I do see how having single leadership over both of these agencies will help with the coordination of the efforts. And also I will say that we have made extreme progress in having support. I think agencies want to be supportive and don't necessarily know how. And so that's been part of the effort that we've taken on in OGVP to help everyone understand how they play a role in gun violence prevention. Everyone plays a role. And I think that, you know, the standard agencies that you immediately think of, like DPR and their wonderful work that you acknowledged earlier, the teen nights and those kind of things, those are great gun violence prevention activities. But also, you know, DOE is an unlikely partner, but they are really an important partner in helping with illegal dumping, which is pervasive in communities that are experiencing the highest levels of gun violence. And DOE has played a critical role in a program they have called Dump Busters that has placed cameras in communities that give that are experiencing the illegal dumping and helping to prosecute those. We saw it really increase over COVID when there was so much work being done on people's individual residential homes, and contractors were dumping the information, the materials east of the river in some of our poorest communities. And so I'm just using that as an example because I think it's our role to sort of help each one of the agencies understand how they can play a role. I don't think people are intentionally not collaborating, coordinating. I think people want to help and just don't know how, similar to our residents. People ask me all the time, how can I help? I think that everybody wants to help and has good intentions. It's just kind of helping people to understand how they can fit into the larger city response to gun violence.
Can I follow up to that? I think that often inside of my single member district, I find that residents do understand the connection between increased activities like dumping, like street sweeping, like lighting. And so as a commissioner, I'm often asked how to facilitate making these things happen. And also inside of my single member district, we have a difficulty, a twist in that there's Park Service land that runs through, and getting the Park Service and police and MPD and the city all to coordinate is very difficult. Any suggestions, any attempts on your part to sort of bring MPS into the fold, so to speak, to get some of that stuff addressed? So I even had an example where something fell off the trash truck in the alley, and because it rolled over onto the NPS land, the people that dropped it wouldn't pick it up, right? Which seems like it'd be a simple task because they knew they dropped it, but now it landed on Park Service land. So I would like to suggest and hope that we're somehow engaging with Park Service as well, because otherwise we just have a different problem that we can't touch.
No, I hear you. That I am going to make a note of your request. That has not been on my priority list, but I certainly understand the challenges of it. And I certainly have seen where Commissioner Palmer has raised it in certain instances, and other commissioners I've seen it on Twitter. I know that it is an issue, and I'm happy to raise it. I know that there is an effort to better coordinate. I do want to say that DMPSJ, the Deputy Mayor for Public Safety and Justice's office, is responsible for the place-based responses to gun violence prevention. And so I encourage you to be proactive in requesting when you would like a blitz. And I'm sure that almost everyone on here knows Jasmine Banab, who works for DMPSJ, and she can lead those efforts. It seems to me that people tend to reach out after there's a big, huge illegal dumping. And so I encourage you to reach out. And I know that she is particularly involved in Ward 4. And so to reach out to her to ask for cleaning blitzes that involve multi-agency level responses in particular communities. But let me check on the MPS and get back with you, Commissioner Brooks.
I'd appreciate that. Thank you. Also, while I have the floor, there's a question in the chat. Can you please repeat the program that can be requested by DCPS for credible messengers? I missed the name of it. And what capacity does this program have? If every DCPS principal requested it, can the program staff that level of need?
No, actually, it's at a pilot level right now. Excuse me. The program is called OLA, which stands for the Office of Learning Academies. No, it stands for the Ones Learning Academies. I'm sorry, the Ones Learning Academies, OLA. I think that, I know that DYRS is also having credible messengers placed in schools. And I think that the increase in requests is directly tied to the concerns from principals about the decrease in school resource officers. The program, the OLA program, is in the One's office, and the Safe Passages program also has some requirements to be inside of the schools, and that is run from DMPSJ, and then there's DYRS, who are also doing similar work inside of schools. I think the recommendation from principals would probably be to go through the Deputy Mayor of Education, who is very familiar with each one of the programs and can advise the principal accordingly. And so Deputy Mayor Kine's office would be my suggestion about the direction to go, to refer principals to Deputy Mayor Kine to request that type of service. I know that it's in a pilot now, and it remains to be seen what the request is going to be for the budgeting of that program moving forward. It's been very well received, though. I can honestly say that principals really do appreciate it. And as we can all understand, having 2 or 3 extra folks around, walking the halls who are from the communities, who know families, who can engage with some of those who are high flyers, frequent flyers at school of having challenges in behaviors. I think principals appreciate that level of support.
All right. Are there any other questions? No. It looks like you're going to be able to log off, Director, and get some rest.
Thank you. And I do appreciate the opportunity to share, and I do welcome the possibility to come back and provide updates in the near future. So feel free to reach out to me as you see fit.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Commissioner Colson, were you raising your hand? Okay, hold on one second, Director.
Okay.
Go ahead, Commissioner Colson.
Hi, I'm sorry. I was going to let you go, but I had
No, it's okay.
question. And thank you so much for all of the information that you provided. You started the discussion by talking about students who are experiencing homelessness, and you also talked about the many community programs. As you worked at Oak Hill, so I'm sure you know about the homeless liaisons that are placed in schools in the work that they do under McKinney-Vento Act. I'm just wondering what the correlation is, because you also talked about coordination. Is there coordination between homeless liaisons and different people within the school and the programs that may be going on. Because while these programs support the school, as you mentioned, there's often a disconnect. So all of that is connected. Just wanted to know what the coordination is looking like and how services are being communicated.
Yeah, we just recently had a conversation about this. I think the challenge is that when programs are school-based, a lot of times the persons that we are targeting, they don't go to school. So the Pathways program are for persons who are from 16 to 35, and most of them have dropped out of school and they're disconnected and disengaged from the usual support systems that would be in place if you did go to school.
Does that include the state programs like Roosevelt Stay and Baloo Stay and the different? Okay.
Yes, but part of our role is to make try to encourage participation, in those programs. And so part of our job is to reconnect. And the office, the DC Reengagement Office, is actually housed in the one's building. And we just set up a meeting today for us to talk about how we could better connect and collaborate with each other around re-engaging the population that has become disengaged and disconnected. So lots of work that can be done in that space for sure.
Okay, one question, one comment. Julie Lawson thanks you for participating in the Whittier Town Hall a couple of weeks ago regarding violence around schools. It meant a lot. And Pam Griffin asked, is there anything put into the curriculum to address anger management or conflict resolution? I'm not sure if that's a question that you can answer, or if that's something that should be directed towards DCPS, but you let me know.
Yeah, I mean, I can answer and say that in the Pathways curriculum, for those that we are working with, that is a huge part of the curriculum. And it's also a part of the training that the violence interrupters receive on how to teach that to young people. And so it's certainly something that is a part of what we do. Now, whether or not it is a part of DCPS curriculum is a conversation and a question for DCPS.
All right. With that, we will now let you go.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
All righty.
Bye-bye.
Wonderful evening. All right, next on our agenda is the consent calendar item, which spawned from a discussion we had a few months ago with representatives from the DC Charter School Board. So we now have resolution 4B230201, calling for traffic control and traffic safety plans and establishing and citing new DC schools, Commissioner Palmer, Yates, and Brooks. And as you know, we post our resolutions on the websites for residents to review in advance of the meeting, and consent calendar items are not discussed. So with that, is there a motion to accept the consent calendar as presented? No one's making a motion.
I make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Commissioner Huff, are you there?
Yeah, I said aye.
Okay, I couldn't hear you. Thank you. All right, motion carries. With that, we're going to move to a letter for Advisory Commission 4B fiscal year 2024 Housing Justice Budget Priorities. Commissioners Palmer, Yates, Brooks, Gilligan, and Smith. Commissioner Palmer, would you like to introduce?
Yes, I would be happy to. I just also want to note that Commissioner Colson is on this resolution and gave some very valuable feedback on supports for homeless students.
Thank you.
This is a letter to the mayor expressing the commission's housing budget priorities built around the work of the Housing Justice Committee. And past letters by the commission where we have weighed in on housing issues. The Housing Justice Committee held 2 meetings that were particularly informative for this letter, including one meeting with at-large Councilmember Christina Henderson and another meeting with at-large Councilmember Robert White, who is the current chair of the council's committee with oversight on housing issues. Many of the issues and budget requests relate to things that the commission has weighed in on before, including adequate funding for public housing, funding and accountability for the Housing Production Trust Fund, and investing in emergency rental assistance. The letter also includes some provisions to address accountability, because we know and have experienced that even when there is adequate funding and programs meant to address certain housing issues, they don't always deliver. So makes note of how the Housing Production Trust Fund has not delivered on providing 50% deeply affordable housing, troubles with public housing and a need for a plan there, and general capacity for the council to do better oversight to make sure that the funds are actually implemented in a way that achieves our housing goals. So this is the letter as presented, and I don't know if anyone else would like to make any comments, but that's what I have to present to the group. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions? No. You guys are very easy tonight. This is great. All right, is there a motion to accept the letter as presented?
I move to accept letter as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Okay, I think I saw everybody's hand, but just to be safe, any opposition? Nope. Any abstentions? No. All right, motion carries. All right, so thank you all very much. And with that, because that is the last item on our agenda, we are adjourned for the evening. I look forward to seeing everyone in the future.
Bye.
Good night.
Good evening, everyone. Be
You
safe.
too.
You too.